Welcome back everyone, it's late, it's tense, and once again we told you so. You remember what we said about emboldening a bully? What happens when you hand the world's loudest megaphone to a man like Trump and dare to call it diplomacy? He doesn't whisper. He roars. He doesn't negotiate. He steamrolls. And now the wrecking ball is swinging again, this time straight at Tokyo. Yes, Japan. And if you think this is just about rice, buckle up. Because that's the cover story. The real story? It's bigger, deeper, and more dangerous than you've been told. This is about the return of Trump's economic warpath, and it starts, again, with America's so-called allies. Let's get into it. Trump's trade tantrum has found a new target. Japan, one of America's oldest allies, is now bracing for impact. The warning shot? A tariff threat that could spike well above 30% on key exports, especially cars. But wait, here's the kicker. Japan is already facing a rice shortage, and yet they won't import American rice. Trump's response? We'll just send them a letter, as if global trade is middle school drama. He's not even hiding the absurdity anymore. In Trump's words, Japan won't take our rice, so now it's time to make them bleed economically. But anyone paying attention knows this isn't about rice. It's a blunt instrument, a pressure campaign dressed up in nationalism, and it's putting Japan in an impossible bind. Here's the situation. Trump's new tariff proposals start with a 10% baseline, but the ceiling could easily smash through 30%. Japan's economy, already on life support. Inflation is the highest in the G7. The national debt, skyrocketing above 230% of GDP. If Trump makes good on his threat, nearly a fifth of Japan's exports could grind to a halt. Economists are warning Japan's GDP could collapse by 1.2%, double what it fell during past shocks. That's not a recession. That's an economic heart attack. Printing more money? That'll only crater the yen, spike import prices, and accelerate the downward spiral. There's no off-ramp here. This is a head-on collision. And what's at the center of it all? Cars. Japan's auto sector, think Toyota, Honda, Nissan, isn't just big, it's vital. It employs over 8% of Japan's workforce, and accounts for 10% of the entire economy. Now imagine what happens if Trump slaps a 30% tariff on Japanese cars. Exports to the United States, a $70 billion pipeline, vanish. That's not just damage. That's devastation. And the squeeze is coming from both sides. On one end, Trump's walling off the American market. On the other, China's EV price war is dragging Japanese automakers into a brutal battle for survival. Chinese cars are cheaper, fast improving, and subsidized. Meanwhile, Japan's costs are soaring. Trump knows this. That's why he's playing hardball. So, let's stop pretending this is about agriculture. The rice excuse, folks, is just a decoy. What Trump really wants is leverage. Strategic geopolitical leverage. You see, Japan's chip exports to China are quietly becoming a thorn in Washington's side. In 2024 alone, nearly half of Japan's chip-making exports went straight to Chinese companies. And while these aren't the most advanced chips, they are critical to China's effort to build its own tech ecosystem. Trump's goal? Well, it's to cut that pipeline. Force Japan to stop fueling China's semiconductor rise. This isn't just about trade, it's about tech dominance. And Trump's gearing up for the next round of the chip war, with Japan caught in the crossfire. Picture this. Trump walks into Tokyo and says, "Stop trading chips with China, or face a 35% tariff on your auto sector." That's not negotiation, that's extortion. And Japan knows it. But can they resist, or will they fold? Ishiba, one of Japan's leading political voices, says Japan won't sacrifice its farm sector. They'll walk away from the deal if needed. But let's be real. The pressure is mounting by the hour. Japan's economy is on the edge. Their options are narrowing. And the world is watching. Now here's the bigger problem. Even if Trump wins, the rest of the world loses. And the US? It's not escaping unscathed. Let's talk numbers. US manufacturing has been contracting for 4 straight months. The Purchasing Managers Index, still under 50. Employment numbers, on a downward spiral. So, remind me, what happened to bringing industry back to America? It's a fantasy. You can't tariff the world and expect flowers in return. Instead, you get higher costs, global resentment, and plummeting demand for your exports. People stop buying American not just because it's expensive, but because they're fed up. And now, the dollar's paying the price. Let's look at the charts. The dollar has lost almost 11% of its value this year. Sure, the S&P is up 5%, but for foreign investors that's still a real-term loss. Why? Because no one trusts the US anymore. The tariff wars are dismantling global confidence, and when confidence disappears, so does the currency. The Fed's caught in the middle. Powell's days? Numbered. Trump and his allies are preparing to toss him overboard. Interest rates are still too high to finance Trump's latest spending spree, a $3.3 trillion mega bill. They'll have to raise debt on the short end. T-bills are still at 4%. That math doesn't work. So rates will have to fall, and when that happens, the dollar will fall with them. Now, while Washington isolates itself, Russia and China are doing the opposite. Their partnership, closer than ever. Russia is flooding China with raw materials. Aluminum exports jumped 56% in May. Copper's up 66%. Nickel more than doubled. In return, China keeps Russia plugged into the global economy, sanction-proofing its exports. This is the industrial alliance that's out-competing everyone. China gets cheap inputs. Russia gets tech and finished goods. The result, cheaper EVs, cheaper electronics, a supply chain the G7 can't touch. That's the secret behind Chinese dominance, and Trump's tariffs only accelerate it. And Europe, caught in a bind. Chinese goods are flooding the continent. In the first 4 months of this year, China's trade surplus with Europe hit $90 billion. Why? Because Chinese products are cheaper, often better, and Europe can't afford to walk away. If they do, inflation spikes. Not just for consumers, but for industries. And that's the unspoken truth. Decoupling from China is a fantasy for most of the world. Only the United States has the hubris to try, and it's paying a heavy price for it. So let me ask you, will Japan fold under Trump's pressure? Can the dollar survive another round of tariff wars? Will China and Russia rewrite the rules of global trade? Let me know in the comments. These are the fault lines of the next decade. And we're just getting started. Stay safe, be smart, and if you're watching from Tokyo tonight, hold on tight. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time, as we navigate this new era together.